as Wilco makes a run ahead of it. Bergkamp suddenly changed pace through the centre. It's Bergkamp! That's magnificent! The move, and then this, which left Dabby's ass totally stranded.
Hello and welcome to Bergkamp Wonderland. We are occasionally an Arsenal podcast. You can tell it's winter. Look how long my hair is. It's an absolute disgrace. It is a special bearded edition tonight, and the Pirates should be here, but we all know, and anybody at home knows, that if you're listening on earphones, that all he does is have that bloody window open and hear motorbikes and cars and Formula One cars going by. And today is the day he's decided to do something about having his window. So he might be joining us at some point during the pod. We honestly don't know, because quite frankly, the bloke is a charlatan. And that's me being polite. With me tonight is Femi. How you doing, Treacle?
I'm doing all right. I'm just in my little... What's the thing that Haaland does? Is it that one or this one? I don't know what he does, but that's how I've been since Sunday, just trying to just bring my levels down a little bit.
Just relaxing,
yeah.
Taking it easy. Trying to deal with the situation.
Was it? What did they say that movie? Like Woosa.
Yeah. That's been me since Sunday.
Yeah. Well, Richard's giving it away for who our other guest is. He's back. Sorry. It's Rich. How you doing?
I'm very well, my mate. I'm very well. Very tired, but in good spirits. To be fair, how are you?
Yeah, I can't be bothered to do anything, really. I'm sitting here in a T-shirt and socks. I've not done my hair. I've not done my beard. I've had the blinds in the sitting room down for about 3 weeks now, and it's nearly Christmas, so that's the only thing that keeps me going. And I've been having Marks and Spencer's tagliatelle. I can barely say it, let alone know what it is, but it's not bad.
Very, very fancy.
I know. Well, it's only £3.50. It's not the most expensive. I've even been trying their chili con carne. As long as I don't look at the little bits of red in it. I don't like tomatoes. But anyway, that's not what we're here for. The burning discussion here. I will say hello to some of the people in the chat. Ronry was there. He was 6 minutes early. He was there before even YouTube bothered turning up. Afternoon, Ronry. Formerly Noza. Do Newcastle. This is Champions League. What happens when you don't have refs on your side? Yeah. Tell us about that. Stefan says that they must be getting used to the clocks changing. Yes. Phil's there. Hello, gents. I think I've just about calmed down. Mr. Waffles is there, fresh from the game against Man City. After you left the country, Mr. Waffles, the Arsenal turned to shit. It's all gone wonky after, we had to win against Sheffield United, but that's not the point. Formerly Noza, Stefan. Yeah, Noza's got it right. Carpenter out if he turns up. He'll turn us if there's no problem. He's had his little break just in time for the international break. Ridiculous. Hardcore lineup of ABW legends, and Danny, thank you very much for that, you shit bag. What has Chris been doing on the window? Well, he does sit there and he does a whistle in one of his jogging tops, and whistling at the sailors as they go by. But we won't go into that. Femi, we were talking before the show started. What percentage of an Invincibles trophy do Spurs get for going almost 11 games unbeaten? Have we come to any decision on that? Because it's quite vital, because they need it for the bus parade at the end of the season.
They definitely do, don't they? Big Ange and his parade around North London, for 11 games. 10 games unbeaten, right?
Nearly.
Oh, no. 10 and a half or 10 and 70 minutes, whatever they were level for yesterday. But yeah, well done to them for that magnificent 4-1 defeat. Brilliant, weren't they, in defeat yesterday? Great tactics.
They should have lost much more than that. I mean, for Chelsea to have 3 goals disallowed and Spurs got away with some rugby style tackling and fouling, and yeah, it's wonderful to see.
It's great. It was. They were playing rugby line-out tactics, weren't they, with all their players in Chelsea's half?
Yeah,
they thought that was a great plan, wasn't it? let's defend in the other team's half with all our players.
They did say on the commentary that's what he was known for at Celtic, going all out football. And it reminded me a little bit, Rich, of remember when Ozzy Ardiles was manager of Spurs and they used to play 5 or 6 forwards. And yeah, it was interesting football because sometimes they'd win 5-4, but then more often than not they get absolutely smashed. But so, are you in last night's result and their Invincibles run?
Well, I mean, I'd like to take some part of credit for it in the sense of, so like I obviously on Monday nights I coach, so I didn't see the start. I came in halfway through the game, and as regular viewers of this would probably know, my wife is a Spurs fan, which just goes to show how great she is in every other aspect of her life that I can look past her being a Spurs fan. Yeah. And one of the things is she's got this weird thing that she calls the hoodoo voodoo, that I'm not allowed to watch Spurs because allegedly it's my fault that they lose. So I came home and came in the house, sat down from training, and they were 1-0 up. And then literally as soon as I seemed to turn up in the house, the wheels came exploding off this clown car. Romero's kicking people, the doggies 2-footing people, and then I say all hell breaks loose, and yeah, it just absolute farce. So much so that I got ordered out of the living room. So I bowled off. I came back. So it was a long tangent. Went off, came back downstairs, just as to witness this weird Sabutio all-in-one line 0-7-1 formation thing that they were doing, and I thought, what is this? This is garbage. And after their third goal went in, it got turned off. So I didn't even hear the pundits absolutely eulogizing the great Invincibles of 2023. And the big Ange loving. So I missed all of that. So they don't get any trophy from me, not even a sarcastic one.
Jeez, ridiculous. I mean, they don't even get the little trophy that Wenger got for almost 11 games, do they? Let alone a gold one. It is disgusting. Let's have a little chat about because we've missed quite a few weeks because Chris had a stoning issue or something. I don't know. Maybe he'll explain himself when he turns up. But after we went to Sevilla and got the 2-1 win, that was pretty decent. Femi, were you at the game where Eddie finally became a man and smashed a 30-minute hat-trick against Sheffield United?
Yeah, at the game.
So what do you think of his performance? Have we got the man we need there to guide us to future glories with 30 goals a season in the league alone?
I would say for anything 13th place down, I think he's good enough. I think he's good enough.
Yeah.
That is damning with faint praise.
Well, what do you want me to say? That's good. I think that's good praise. If I said what I really think, but no, it's a Premier League hat trick at the end of the day. Not many players have scored that. To be fair to him, I've been reading someone saying that Rashford hasn't scored a Premier League hat trick, even at however long he's been in the league, however many games he's played. He hasn't scored a hat trick in the league, so. Fair plays. They played Sheffield United a couple of weeks ago, and not a lot of people have scored that many goals against them. So, although a lot of people did say, it's only Sheffield United, if you look at their results, they actually haven't been hammered by anyone. I think
it's only Newcastle that's pumped them at St James's Park. I think.
Weird game, wasn't it?
So,
yeah.
No, that was at their ground. They beat them 8-0. It's.
Go on.
No, go on.
We all like a bit of a quiz, so I'm going to have a little quiz with you two, a little bit of fun. I've got a list of every hat-trick, including the 4 goals, for that Arsenal scored in the Premier League era. You can take it in turns and see who's going to get the most. So, Richard, you go first.
First tell us how many.
First person to...
How many have there been?
Oh, Jesus. Well, there's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Oh, there's been about 40, but individual players I don't know. So, Richard, you go
All right, go on.
first. So use the first person. The first person. Then I'm going to mark them, and then
So I'm just naming an Arsenal player who scored a hat trick in the Premiership.
Yeah.
So like Walcott.
Okay, so you've got Walcott. That means that Walcott is now green. That's okay. Femi, if you ever guess you get it wrong, you don't get another get. It goes back to the other person. So
I'll go nice and easy. Thierry Henry.
Hold on, I'm still looking, and Femi can be red. All right, so on. Oh my God, it's gonna take me bloody ages to do the Henry ones. Right, Richard, you do your one.
Surely Uncle Ian, old Ian Wright.
I can cross all those out. There's 5 there. Right, you're on green. So Ian Wright, Ian Wright managed to get 4, I think. Ian Wright he's got 5. 5, lovely. Henry has actually got 5, 6, 7, has got 8, and Walcott had 3. So, Femi, what are you going to do? What are you going for?
My days. Let's go. It's crazy. Mine's gone blank.
Pressure is on.
Kanu at Chelsea.
Yes, that's Mr. Kanu. He only got 1 Premier League hat trick, Richard.
The man this wonderful podcast is named after, Dennis Bergkamp.
Yes, indeed. He got 1 there. He only got 1.
Was that the Leicester one?
Premier League hat trick? I think it must have been. Femi.
RVP.
Oh, there you go. He got 3. Yeah, he got 3. 3 in a row. No one else got him between his 3. There we go. So, Richard?
Anelka.
Anelka. Good answer. Anelka got 1.
Anelka get 1.
Anelka only got 1.
Only 1.
Only 1.
That's shocking.
So the first person to it's getting tough now. First person to get 1 wrong, and then if the next person gets it wrong, then it's all over. I'm not going to add them up. Too many.
I'm totally lost.
I imagine the chat box are absolutely screaming at us right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go old school because I'm sure there was some before Ian Wright. There must have been hat tricks before Ian Wright. The Premier League.
There was. He's been on the show.
He joined Kevin Campbell.
Hey. Super Kevin Campbell. 1993 got 2 of them. People forget that. Absolute legend.
Super Kev.
Richard?
Jermaine Pennant.
Oh, snuck in there. Yes, got 1 against Leeds, I think.
No, Southampton, wasn't it?
It says it here. It was Southampton. I don't know why I said Leeds.
Yeah.
Absolute nonsense.
When the unbeaten run started. So that means if he got 1, that means Robert Perez got 1 because he got 1 in that same game as well.
It is indeed. Bobby Perez only got 1. So Richard, there's you've got to choose from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You can't have Eddie because that's who we're talking. So you've got 10 to pick from, and there's one person got 3 of them in a row.
Surely Aubameyang.
Aubameyang only got 1 against Leeds, 2021. Oh, Femi, the pressure's
in off
on.
the post.
No. So I was gonna go.
Out of all the ones that
I have
left,
a
only one
feeling
of them is
Alan
English.
Smith didn't score a lot in the Premier League.
They're all foreign apart from 1.
Era. Okay,
And if you listen to Talk Sport, do you ever listen to Talk Sport?
Yeah.
You know when it comes on, they go, you have to tell
It's
Alexa
only Ray
to allow
Parlour.
your thing.
It's only Ray Parlour.
Against Newcastle, December 2000. Oh, Rich.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say the beautiful, handsome man himself, Olivier Giroud.
He only managed to get 1 against Aston Villa in 2016.
I would have never said that name.
Nose has said Romford Pele was Champions League, wasn't it? And I think it was the UEFA Cup against Werder Bremen as well. He got 2 hat tricks, which is unbelievable. It was a winger for ages, wasn't it? It's only late in his career he went in midfield and started kicking people. So, who says you? So, Femi, down to you.
We said RVP already, right? So
Yeah,
definitely. I don't know if it was at Tottenham, but he definitely got a hat trick. Adebayo.
he got
Definitely
3.
got a hat trick, right? 3 hat
2
tricks.
against Derby and 1 against Blackburn. Ooh, narrowing it down.
2 against.
It really is.
We're only
I'm
killing
done.
time till Chris gets here.
I'm done, by the way.
I'm gonna possibly. Oh, he didn't, does he? Alexis.
Yeah, Sanchez managed to get 2.
Texas.
West Ham and against Leicester.
Wow.
Give you a little clue, Femi. He's got the quietest feet in football, Gimli used to say.
Quietest feet in football?
And maybe the smallest.
Arshavin.
It is. No, that's not the one I was thinking of. But yeah, Arshavin. He got 4 v Liverpool.
He's got
in
4, didn't he?
2009.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so obvious as well.
So we've got a Dutchman, a Frenchman, a Swede, a Spaniard, and a Welshman.
Okay.
The Welshman's got to be Rambo, eh?
It certainly is Rambo. 2018 v Everton, Femi. So he's only 1, 2, 3.
A Swede has got to be Freddie Ljungberg.
It is Ljungberg. They've got your go, Richard. You've got 3
I was
to
going to
go.
say Kim Kallström, but
I was going to say, yeah, didn't he? Did he score a hat trick with a broken back?
Versus a hat trick v Middlesbrough in '99, a hat trick v West Ham in 2001, and the last one was against Reading in 2012. They've all only ever scored 1 hat trick each in the Premier League.
Genuinely, I cannot think of any more.
And they all played in the same position. And none of them are strikers.
Cesc? Did he ever get a hat trick? Ah, boo.
Cesc. If you get one of these, Femi, you've won. If you don't get it,
any of those clues.
They've all played in the same position. In fact, they all replaced each other. A Dutchman, a Frenchman, and a Spaniard.
Okay. Dutchman, Frenchman, Spaniard. We've said Perez already.
Afternoon, Stanley.
Let's say I've said Freddie already. I'm done. A Dutchman. We said Bergkamp, Mark Overmars.
He wins it with Mark Overmars.
Well done, mate.
Well done. And do you want to save face a little bit, Richard, and try and guess one of the other 2? One was a Frenchman, also played on the left side.
So it's got to be a left winger, yeah.
And so did this Spaniard, played on the left wing before moving infield in his 2nd season.
That means it's
no idea. On the left wing, Santi?
Santi, indeed, yes.
Okay.
A hat-trick v Reading in 2012. And the final one, World Cup winner with France.
Wiltord?
Wiltord?
Hat-trick v West Ham in 2001.
But you said left winger. When did he play left wing?
He played on the left.
Did he? I don't know.
Yeah, he played on the left. He went on the left after Perez. I think he did. Help me in the chat, people. Did Will talk?
No, Perez outlasted him.
Perez. I mean, replaced Overmars, not Perez. Fuck's sake.
Ah.
Well, there we go. That's it. We've run out of stuff to talk about now. Hey.
Just anything to not talk about referees, eh?
Oh, dear, we're not going to do it. There's absolutely no point doing it. I've got a little stat here for you, Richard, on Nketiah. He has played. He started 37 Premier League games out of the 100 that he's played, and he scored 19 goals in 100 games. Is that good enough for a bloke who's, was he 23, 24 now?
Give me that stat again. He's played.
He's played exactly 100 Premier League games, of which he started 37, and he's got 19 goals in them games. Is that good enough?
That's not terrible, to be fair. I think it's kind of with Eddie. It's kind of the eye test in the sense of you can see the drop off in our attacking play when it's him spearheading the attack rather than Gabriel Jesus. I think that's more of the, because I mean that's not terrible. I don't know about you guys, but it doesn't strike me as awful stats from a lad who we brought in. We spent no money on. We brought in from the academy. That's not and who is a second choice striker. That's not terrible, to be fair.
Fem, do you think? Has he got a future at the club?
See, my problem is, or my thing is, he's not really a second choice striker, is he? Really, when you really think about it, he's played almost every Premier League game this season, so he's not actually. I mean, it's not his fault that he's playing so many.
He hasn't missed a game all season. But Havertz, White, and Nketiah and Gabriel have played minutes in every game this season.
Supposedly he might be out for tomorrow, though, eh?
Yeah. So
I did read.
For me, it's the fact that he's just not second choice right now, and I just don't think he's good enough to be Arsenal's main striker, especially at the level that we're playing at. He's good for a certain level, but if you're talking about going to the next level, there's not. When you look at world football, there's not that many great strikers, but what Arsenal absolutely need to do is get a tough, robust striker that's going to play the majority of their games without breaking down. You're looking at world football now. I'm watching Champions League right now. You're looking at the Haaland, Harry Kane. They're littered all over the place. So we just have to get to that point where we get a player that's not going to break down. And for me, there's just too much wrong with his game personally for me to be that invested in him as a striker.
But I mean, he's first choice striker in by default only. He's not, like I said, if Gabriel Jesus is fit, he's not spearheading that attack. So he is constantly essential, a second striker, a replacement striker. It's just our first choice striker. He's constantly fucking banjaxed. Which I think is the bigger issue and the bigger problem is the reliability and availability on Jesus, who seems to same with Partey, same with ERS. It's just too many injury. I don't want to say injury prone. That sounds a bit harsh, but just too many unreliable fitness-wise players.
If you look at the games we've played this season, we didn't score against Newcastle, 5 against Sheffield United, 2 against Chelsea, 1 against City, 4 against Bournemouth, 2 against Spurs, 1 against Everton, 3 against United, 2 against Fulham, 1 against Palace, and 2 against Forest. Is goal scoring our problem this season in the Premier League, Fem?
No, goal creation is definitely a problem. Creating chances is a massive problem for us. I don't think scoring is a problem, but I think if you look at a lot of those goals, a lot of them are set pieces. A lot of the goals are set pieces. A lot of the chances we create are from set pieces. We're in the bottom half of open play chance creation. And I know a lot of people don't like stats and whatnot, but it's kind of like when you get to, I know we're going to get to the Newcastle game in a minute, but when you start seeing when you're 1-0 down against a team that's defending in their box basically for like the last 20 minutes, that's when you start seeing, okay, we kind of have a problem like creating chances, don't we? It's crazy, but we just don't create enough chances. If you look at last season, I think we had 4 players in the top 6 of chance creation in the whole league. Like all our 4, we had Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, and someone else. I can't remember who the 4th one was, but
probably Xhaka.
Now I don't think it was Xhaka. I can't remember who it was, but now we haven't got anything.
Martinelli?
We haven't got anyone in the It was Martinelli. Yeah. Now we haven't got any in that top 6, so we're just not creating anything. So it's just a massive problem. And if you look at, like I said, we score a lot of goals from set pieces, a lot of goals, penalties and corners. Even though our corners on Saturday, that's a different story. But a lot of our chances are coming from there. But yeah, we've really got to improve and I think it comes with moving the ball quicker. We move the ball so slowly. It's amazing. But yeah.
Karl wants to know, where's Chris? The bloke come out to fix his window that he's been hanging out whistling at the sailors as they go by. Do you want to say anything on that, Richard, or are you ready for my next question to talk about?
No, just to say that the Arsenal fan who grew up on George Graham's Arsenal is reveling in the set piece goals. But I agree with what Femi's saying, and the speed of our build up is really been affected. But a big chunk of that has been the Partey injury, the loss of Xhaka and not the straight replacement, almost like for like of it. And just the fact that, like I said, we've Gabriel Jesus for most of the game. Saka has looked absolutely burnt out from the tail end of last season. He looked burned out. He even got injured, and then Martin Odegaard getting injured, and the fact that teams are, especially from the first half of last season, are playing us very differently in the sense of everybody's sitting back now. Everybody's defending deep, 2 banks of 4 against us. Whereas, especially in the first half of last season, it was a little bit more open. It was a little bit more to and fro and kind of thing, and a bit more of not an even game. But I don't think teams realise how good we were last season. We were able to capitalise. So I think it's not a simple reason or a simple solution. It's loads of multifaceted things that are messing us up, or not even messing us up, because it's not even if we're doing massively badly. We're still dominating games. We're still, we're getting loads of corners and stuff like that, and penalties and stuff like that. But we're not clicking as we would. But it's really not surprising when you look into all those soft factors that all come together to stunt our progression.
Yeah, I remember this time last season, we were all saying, if we lose Partey, we're pretty screwed. I remember us saying that all last season. We were like, oh my gosh, if he gets injured, if he misses games, we're screwed. We're so screwed. And I think the end of last season, kind of his form, that absolutely, as well as the couple of injuries that we had at the back, his form absolutely went down the toilet within within that West Ham. Was it the West Ham game? Yeah, the West Ham game, and he just never recovered from that. He was never the same player, and I think we kind of came into the season thinking, oh well, he'll just get there, won't he? He'll get there, and now we're still missing that piece in midfield that creates, that opens, that does things.
If we look at the start of the season for Saka, his first 7 Premier League games, 4 goals, 2 assists, you think that's it, he's on for another magnificent season. Out against Man City, and the next 3 games, he's got 1 assist. And you've seen a dramatic change in the way that Saka plays the football, because he is getting kicked so much, and he's obviously, I don't think he's as fit as he would like to be. Quite a lot of the time he's hobbling around. But Rich, the question I wanted the next topic to talk about is, if you compare last season's side, which I've said in our WhatsApp group, compare last season's side and the style of football, accelerating, thrilling, stunning, beautiful football, and then you compare against this season where we look at every single game virtually, apart from PSV and even Sheffield United before we started banging in the goals, we look like we're on the verge of about to collapse. And we're 17 games into the season, and I haven't really enjoyed any of them. And that's the game where we beat Man City twice already out of 17 games, or 1 on penalties. But am I being a little bit out of order? Is this the process? Is everything shifting to a stats-based game? I think one of you said that in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, I mean, the whole of football, the way it's been analysed and progressed and changed is, viewed and skewed by stats. I kind of see where you're coming from, but I also think there's a little bit of not revisionist, but in the sense of, you know, we didn't blow every team away last season. And I think the great run and the great journey that we went on last year has kind of allowed people to see things through rose-tinted glasses, in the sense of, you know, like I said, we didn't blow loads of teams away last season, but it was completely unexpected. You know, no one, you know, not that many people even thought we could push into the top four, let alone lead the league for 95% of the season. So, you know, our expectations were here and what we were delivering was up here. So we were so happy and so joyous, and everyone was exhilarated. But now this season, you know, where what we've delivered is dropped a little bit, but our expectations have risen so much. So we're kind of viewing things a little bit harsher than we would do, because I think we're kind of expecting to, because we did so well last season, that we're going to blow teams away every game, and it's you know, it was never going to be that way. You know, in you know, I think, again, you know, going by stats, I think prior to the Liverpool to the Newcastle fiasco, you know, we were, and we still might be quite high in the thing. We were like first in, you know, XG conceded. We were second in goals conceded. We were, you know, we were dominating games in the sense of, in terms of possessions, in terms of not allowing teams to affect us or hurt us and stuff like that. You know, we were controlling the majority of games. The problem that like I said, as we're getting is our attack isn't clicking because of all those factors. Because of, like I said, the injury, that Partey thing, as Femi touched on earlier, being so crucial to how we transition and how we play and how we feed that ball into Odegaard to give him space, to get them, for him to give Saka and put it in, you know, the ball into them when they've got space around them. Now it's taking a little bit longer to get to him. It's taking that, you know, a little bit longer to beat that defender, and we're coming up against a, you know, two banks of four, which is really hard to break down, especially when we've got someone like Nketiah, who is a low touch striker, who's 5'7", and, you know, is not going to massively challenge the Dan Burns, you know, I can't remember any other Neanderthal giant in the centre backs at this present moment in time, but he's not going to challenge them in the air. That we haven't got that kind of alternative thing that maybe Havertz could be, if we need him to. So I get what you're saying, but I don't think it's as bad as people made out. I don't know if I explained that very well, and I suppose if people are not watching on YouTube and didn't see my hand gestures, but yeah, like I said, the expectation has just grown exponentially, and I think that's what's souring our attitudes. You
do know that Eddie isn't 5'7", don't you? You're just joking.
I was being a bit slightly facetious. What is he? Is he 5'9", 5'11"?
11.
5'11", okay.
5'11". Femi, you're there. Go answer that question that I've put to him. And also, have you noticed that the atmosphere at the stadium? You know, when we go in the Emery days, we would all go, oh, we're going to let a goal in any moment. Do you notice that at the stadium that people are apprehensive, or the atmosphere gets a bit unnervy is the word I'm looking for, compared to last season?
I think the only thing I would say is, in terms of nervy atmosphere, we're looking at the goalkeeping situation does seem to cause a bit of panic in the stadium at the moment, because we are playing it a little bit different. As in, we literally are playing. We hold the tactic is for the keeper to hold on to the ball as long as possible, and I just don't think the crowd are used to that yet, to be honest with you. So it does draw a breath sometimes, especially what game was it? Was it the Man City game where he was just doing crazy stuff in our box, where it was just like, oh my god, he's gonna concede a goal. He booted a ball against a player, didn't he? And it almost went in. Those are the types of things that I think are causing nerves. But generally, like Rich says, we hardly give away any chances to even be that worried, to be honest with you. We do not get caught on the transition as much as we used to. As soon as we lose a ball, we cover that space so quickly. We control 70% of most games at the moment. And then I'm looking at the table now. It's just, I think this season is just a crazy anomaly, because I'm looking at it. After 10 games last season, we had 27 points, 14 goal difference. After 11 games this season, we've got 24 points, 14 goal difference. And our goal difference this time is actually from conceding less goals. We got the second best defense in the league. Whereas our goal difference last time was from scoring more goals. So it's just, but last season, you've only got, we're on 27, City on 23, Spurs on 23. They fell off, which is funny, isn't it? They were on 23 this time last season. And then everyone else is on 20 or below. This season, you've got, Liverpool above 20, Liverpool on 24, Arsenal on 24, City and Spurs are above that 20. So it's a bit of an anomaly. Basically, there's just a lot of rubbish teams at the bottom of the league. And the good thing for us is we actually haven't played most of those rubbish teams. So that's quite interesting, because we've actually played all of the traditional top six. So now
in our next 4 games, we've got Burnley and Luton to play.
Exactly. So now the question for Arsenal is, can we pummel those teams in the middle of the league? Because someone was saying today, if you got 20 if you take out the top 6 teams, you've got another 28 games to play in a season, right? They said if you win 26 of those 28, you're doing pretty well. So that means you can only drop a couple of games in that middle group of teams that you're going to play. So you're looking, we already dropped points against Fulham. That means we've got to pick up those points somewhere else. And that's what we did well last season. We beat Villa at home away. We beat Brighton away. We beat Palace. Did we beat them home and away? Yep.
And we beat Spurs home and away.
Yeah, we went to loads of places. We beat Wolves home and away.
But the thing we didn't do last season was beat Man City, and we've already beaten them. That was what we said last season. To do well this season, we've got to beat Man City home or away, and we beat them at home. So I'm still not happy.
Those big games are the ones that win you the title. If you win all the other games, that's what gets you in the top 4, basically. So, yeah, we're there. We're there. I think people are waiting for the big event, aren't they, of us talking about this game on the weekend.
You got anything else to say, add to any of that lot?
No. I think Femi summed up very nicely.
Is that a Jeremy Clarkson book to your bottom left? I had 5 of them. I didn't walk to the charity shop.
There's 2 of them. Yeah, Driven to Distraction.
Have you read them?
I read most of them. Most of them. I got a bit bored of them in the end. They're just like excerpts from his
column.
His column. Yeah. They were quite funny though.
Yeah, good. Stan, my mate Stan from Canada, who's not been well lately. He told me how he wasn't well, and I thought he was joking. It's Canada isn't the greatest country in the world, people. Stan says, can we get rid of Zinchenko and get a left back can actually defend, please? Rich, did you see Cucurella last night for Chelsea? My God, imagine if we had a left. Fem, did you see Cucurella last night?
Sorry,
Richard didn't. He was absolutely immense. And against us, he was immense. Is that the kind of player do you think Arteta would ever go for? Because we not that he's going to leave Chelsea, but that would fix all of our problems down the left-hand side, wouldn't it?
Well, you say that, it was absolutely awful last season. How about we don't get rid of Zinchenko? How about we put Zinchenko into midfield with Declan Reiss? How about we do that now? Because we clearly have a problem building up play and then we clearly don't trust him enough defensively to play him in big games. And we have a problem at left 8 and generally in midfield right now. I think the only reason why we're not starting Tomiyasu in every game is because we have a lack of defenders as well. We've basically got 6 defenders to our book. So if one of them goes down at any point before January, we're pretty screwed in defense as well. So it's kind of like where it's weird. We keep getting rid of loads of players and bringing one or two in. And we always start the season thinking, oh, look at our squad. It looks absolutely amazing. And then by the time you get a couple of injuries, you're like, hold on a minute. We don't have enough players here. We've got 2 keepers on the bench. We've got Cedric and El Neni. And it's like Cedric will never play any minutes, will he? So he's just on the bench for numbers. And you got 2 keepers on the. So basically, you got a bench of 6, and one of them is Reiss Nelson, who rarely comes on. So it's kind of a weird makeup of a squad at the moment. But I personally would think let's put Zinchenko in midfield. We've got a problem at that left 8. Let's be honest. And anything that we're trying in there at the moment just isn't working. I'm not the biggest fan of Jorginho at all. At all. Don't get me started on him. I just don't want to. Personally, just no more Chelsea.
When you've got a midfield 3 of Jorginho, Havertz, and Reiss, you're not really going to be creating that much, are you?
Exactly.
But again, maybe that's what he wants, to cover the defence.
Why not stick Zinchenko in there? He couldn't have done a worse job than. He can't
That's
do a
his
worse
job
job
for Ukraine, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So. But yeah, no, that's what I would do. But yeah, obviously the Duran Timber injury kind of screwed us for the season, didn't it?
But then Tommy's come in and done great.
He has, and he's kept fit as well, which is the most important thing. So touch wood, they all stay fit. Which is, the next few weeks are just, I don't know if anyone's looked at the fixtures, but it's absolutely insane. It's crazy.
Zaid has put, love listening to this podcast. How about we have it on a regular basis? It's much like sex in a marriage when you've been married for a long time. We've been going for 10 years now, and sometimes think, I can't be bothered. Chris is he had the winter blues. He does it every year. He does the first 2 months, gets the winter blues, and I've got the winter blues. Everybody does, and then so he has to have he has to go in the room with a bright light for 2 weeks, and that's where he's been. So he's back. He sent me a message today saying, "I'm back all the time now," and then his windows fall out. Rich, looking at we're going to save Newcastle to the end, hopefully, because then Chris might be here, and then he can go. Told you so. Havertz, 17 games. He's played the most number of games this season. Quite high up there in the most number of minutes. 1 goal, 1 assist. Is that the player that Arteta wanted in that position to replace Xhaka? As it looks. Do you think Arteta expected this, or has it all?
God knows. God knows. It's when you try and look at it and analyze it, and like say do the eye test from. Trying to look at it without all the variables in there. He hasn't actually done terribly. He hasn't done anything great or good or anything, which I know is kind of,
damning praise.
The whole yeah. I thought he was actually, I suppose, pretty decent at in the Newcastle game for his pressing and stuff like that. He's done well in pockets in certain games and things like that. I think if you take away, I think the 2 biggest pitfalls for him in the fans' eyes is obviously the fact that he's a former Chelsea and literally that conveyor belt of absolute dross that have come through from that club to us, obviously will weigh him, and also the amount of money that he's cost. I would like to have seen him actually a little bit further forward in that kind of false 9, up top, using a bit of physicality, giving us another plan B, because I think he can give that. Whenever I see him, he looks so devoid of confidence and kind of playing within himself. There's times he picks up the ball and you want him to drive on and have some purpose, and he'll check back or he'll slow it down a little bit. And I think it's massively. I think Chelsea ruined him last season, and I just think he's really struggling because, although I didn't see him, loads in when he was at Leverkusen, but from the clips and the highlight packages from the Champions League that you saw him, or Europa League, where it was, that you saw him in for Leverkusen, this doesn't look like the same sort of player. And I think it's all between his ears. I think it's just a massive confidence thing, but it's clearly not working with him in that left eight. So I think we maybe almost need to, like say, try something a little bit different. Like Femi said, having that Zinchenko in that left eight and having Havertz a little bit closer to goal might actually benefit him a little bit. But yeah, I can see why people are frustrated with him so far, especially and this is the third thing that's kind of what he was taken over from and how well Xhaka excelled in that position last season. So yeah, just nothing's going for the lad. After as much as you can feel sorry for a multi-millionaire footballer, I do slightly feel sorry for him.
Fem, you're at the games. Is your perspective on Havertz different from those of us who watch it from a comfy seat with a can of Dr. Pepper on the go?
No, I'm constantly saying, what does this guy actually do? And you know what? Every week I say to my friends, I'm going to give him another 2 games. He'll come good. I'll say, another 2 games before I make a decision. I'm always saying I'll give him another game. But seriously, the bar is just so low now. It's like that performance on Sunday. I mean, he played well. He showed some passion and ran around and gave a few passes, but seriously, the bar is just absolutely low. And the worst thing for him is, like, every time he performs, people just, at first it was, he's played with 4 different left backs, and then there was, he hasn't played with Zinchenko yet, he hasn't played with Jesus yet, he hasn't, and it's like, oh my goodness me, like, how many excuses are we gonna give? And I just think also the makeup of the team sometimes doesn't help some certain players. It's like when you see the lineup and you see Jorginho and Havertz in your central midfield, you're like, nah, this isn't going to be a good day. Automatically, you're just thinking of a slow, plodding match. I don't know if it's just me that thinks that. As soon as I see those two playing together, I'm like, why would this combination just doesn't work? But then again, against West Ham, when we saw the combination of Havertz and Vieira in midfield, we're like, something doesn't look right about this. But also, that was with Jorginho at the back as well. So I don't know if it's Havertz that's the common denominator or if it's Jorginho. There's just something about that combination that doesn't sit right with me personally. And it just seems so slow and just so unimaginable. I don't know. It's just a weird combination of those 2 players and whoever they play with. So I think that the experiment is only going to last so long. And the problem you've got, Arteta, is I think right now I'm actually all right with us just sticking around at the top as long as possible, staying close to Man City, staying close to Liverpool as long as possible until we discover what works, what clicks, what picks up form. But I remember a few years ago when Willian just was not working and we just kept going with Willian until we decided to take him out, and then the team form just went upwards. I'm not saying you take Havertz out, but you cannot force something if it's not working. If the midfield option is not working, it's not working. Let's be honest. I get what Arteta's trying to do. He wants a man that carries the ball and gets involved in touches a lot, which is Odegaard, and a man that doesn't get involved in touches a lot and runs off the ball, which is Havertz. It's weird. It's weird. I don't like it personally.
How long before the crowd started to turn yet? Because Xhaka, Eboué,
because he doesn't do anything, Danny. He doesn't. It's not like he does
to turn.
No,
are they started?
No, he does. The problem is he doesn't do anything. If he was like missing chances, he hardly has any shots. He doesn't have any passes that he has to put through that he gets wrong. He doesn't do anything wrong. So what can you moan at? He just does nothing, basically.
So
he doesn't get involved in build-up play.
What do you put his reckless performance against Newcastle down to? Frustration on his behalf?
I thought it was all right. Personally, all right.
He nearly killed someone. I've never seen that kind of anger from him.
But that's the best thing he's ever done in an Arsenal shirt.
Jackaresque, some might say. Rich,
that's the best thing. I haven't seen him do anything.
What's your thoughts on that, Rich? Is it time? I mean, we have seen in the recent games he has dropped him from the starting 11, but is it a mess? Is it fixable? Do you hold out much hope?
I do, because of what we've seen beforehand from him. He's played the highest levels, and he's played in the Premier League, and he has. When you look at this dude, he has all the tools to succeed. He's. I remember when the first time I saw him at the Emirates, and I was like, "Geez, you didn't realize how big this geezer is. He's a big dude, he's got touch. He can run. He got so much facets to his game. But at the minute, he's so much less the sum of his parts, and I think that has got everything to do with in between his ears. I think it's a mental and a confidence issue. Like I said, he'll get that ball. Like I said, he's as Femi saying, he doesn't do anything because he's not taking on that hard pass, that difficult pass. He's not looking to break any lines. He's not looking to do anything. It's almost like fear. I remember, not that I want to sully this lovely podcast with his name, but I remember that interview with Michael Owen regarding about his injury. After he had his really, really bad injury, and he started playing within himself because he was scared to make those runs because he was scared that his body was going to break down. And I get a massive whiff of that. Not that his body's going to break down, but, I get a massive whiff that he doesn't want to play that pass. He doesn't want to make that run. He doesn't want to drive with that ball because he's scared of getting jeered. He's scared of getting... Of failing, and then he's taking that simple and that easy option, that sideways pass, that holding onto the ball, turning back, and that's what the massive whiff I get from him, and I think it is fixable. I kind of think it's going to be in one of those situations where once it clicks. But I think in the midfield, which is, I wouldn't say misfiring, but you've got the constant injuries between Odegaard and Partey, and Reiss coming into a new team, him going into a new team. I don't think he's set up to succeed in that left 8 role in his current levels of confidence that he has, which is why I think maybe switching him up into that advanced role, it might be a little bit better for him. Getting him a little bit closer to the goal might be a little bit better for him. I mean, only time will tell, but I thinking about where he's come from and what he's done in the game, I don't think he's a busted flush. Even though it's been two teams in a row.
I think I agree with you about putting him up front. So I was looking at Chelsea were shocking.
We might see it at the weekend if tomorrow if Eddie's not fit. Yeah.
Well, I've got a feeling Trossard might play up front tomorrow, depending on Saka's fitness, because Saka did look a bit cream crackered on Saturday. You're looking 35 games, 7 goals. Now, obviously, a majority of those games would have been up front. Now, I know we all laughed at that. 35.
No, sorry. Did you see Stan's comment?
I didn't even see Stan's comment.
That was what. Sorry, Danny put it on there. It made me laugh.
Oh yeah, I thought you were laughing at his 7 goals. I was about to say, well, our other striker had 4 goals last season. So, 7 goals is quite some going if you're looking at that. So maybe in a team that is more fluid around him, he might be a good focal point for us for when Jesus is not playing. I don't know. We just need something in midfield at the moment. Our midfield makeup is all wrong, and I think that's where a lot of our issues or perceived issues are coming from. You know, it looks all wrong. You know, where is our where's our creativity? So Arteta has to do something a little bit different, I think. So why not put him up front? Just stick Vieira in midfield. Stick Fabio Vieira in midfield for a few games, not just one game here and there, and then he's out. I mean, Smith Rowe's out for a month, they're saying. So you've only got a few other options anyway. So why not try Havertz up front? Why not give Saka a rest? You know, why it doesn't hurt to. Like, I really will be. I mean, England are going to pick Saka next week, aren't they? This week, on Thursday, whenever the squad comes out. So when is this guy going to get a rest? So it's up to us to give him a rest, isn't it? So why not give Saka a rest on Saturday and you know, try something different?
Possibly. Yeah, Stan, if for people at home and on the bus, Stan said, as Jesse Ventura said in Predator, son of a bitch is dug in like an Alabama tick. And he also said, I'm a sexual tyrannosaurus because he was chewing tobacco. Something like that, I don't know. Yeah, so I think you had a good point there, Fem. If we look at, I've got Arteta's favourite setup here. Raya in goal, usual back four, maybe Tommy in for Zinchenko. I have to keep changing these. The front three, Martinelli, Jesus and Saka. Odegaard, right eight. Havertz, left eight. And Reiss in the middle. Do you reckon if we had an extended run of, say, 10 games where all of those players played the whole 90 minutes or started 10 Premier League games in a row, do you think that would make things a little bit better for Havertz? Because how many times has this midfield three started in those positions? Maybe 1 or 2 out of 17, if that.
Yeah, it's not a combination that's lasted a lot, is it? That's been used a hell of a lot.
No, I think the midfield three have played a bit together, haven't they? But not with Jesus and Zinchenko being there. And then Martinelli was out for a while, wasn't he? So it's a bit different. I mean, we have got more injuries this season. Let's be honest. We have cream crackered some of our players. I mean, games and injuries do have a massive correlation. There's a reason why Man City don't get injuries, for example, because Pep is consistently Pep roulette, right? I don't play fantasy football anymore, but I know people that don't pick Man City players in their league fantasy team because they don't know who's going to be playing from game to game. And it's always, and a lot of it is wide players as well. Mahrez was playing. Who else plays wide for them? Grealish would be playing 1 week. Foden would be playing 1 week, and you just don't know who's going to be playing. Whereas with Arsenal, if I tell you who's going to play on Saturday, you know it's going to be left wing is Martinelli, right wing is Saka. Always, game in, game out, no matter what. And
but it's because of that drop off, though.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Man City have the quality, of course, most definitely. But that's now up to us to build that quality. We've got first teamers now on long-term contracts. We now have to build the quality. Giving Reiss Nelson a new contract, I'm just like, what was the actual point of it? To be honest with you, I don't know personally. If someone can explain to me, then I'm all ears. To be honest with you.
I mean, look at that Doku bloke. He was only the second player in Premier League history to get 5 goal things in a game. You got 1 goal and 4 assists in the 6-1 against Bournemouth. I mean, that's the kind of player you want to go out and get. The bloke is something. He's magical, isn't he? And we haven't got that. Like Mahrez last season wasn't a regular. Came in, I think it was the FA Cup quarter-final, semi-final for Man City. He scored a hat-trick and then was dropped for the league game. And you think, well, we've seen again in our League Cup game what happened when we brought in our backup players. The worst game under Arteta I've seen in 2 years, probably. Absolutely shockingly bad.
But then Danny, what you've got to remember is, I know people will tell me that these players cost 60 odd million or 50 million each and every. If we're at a stage where we only need to add 1 or 2 50 million players every summer now to get better. But the problem is, if you're spending 60 odd million on a player like Havertz, and then you're doing a pity party with him, giving him pity penalties and hoping he comes good and lowering your bar, then that means that 60 million hasn't been well invested. So that's a wasted summer, pretty much.
Yeah, sadly. Right, let's move on to. Looks like Chris isn't going to join us. One image sums up the Newcastle game. On the screen for people at home, on the bus, having a poo, walking the dog, in the bath. Checking goal, possible offside. Rich, which one of the three was it? Which one of those three? Actually, could it have been four? Wasn't it? It was the not over the line. It was a shove, and it was handball, and possibly offside. Four possible reasons to disallow that goal. I remember when I was watching, I was thinking, well, that's ridiculous. They're going to have four of them. Which one is it going to be? Turns out it wasn't any of them, was it? What are your thoughts?
I mean, the most egregious one is the foul, is the push into the back of Gabriel from Joe Linton. It's so painfully obvious that it borders on the absolute absurd. Like, the ball going out of play, I kind of get that. I do get that. It's not conclusive because you've only got one shitty angle to go from. I did think it was possibly offside, but we didn't really spend enough time, and I haven't really looked at it massively enough to see whether it. I mean, my first instinct was that Gordon was offside because he was beyond David Raya, but without a shadow of a doubt, like, you do that in any other part of the pitch, it's a foul. Like, you clip up and you look at the amount of times that Trossard or Martinelli lightly tickled Livertino's backside, and he fell over at the byline, and straight away it's a free kick. Like, it boggles my mind, and I don't understand what their process is. Like I said, we can't hear what the conversations, the VAR to the referee conversations are. Although, to be fair, I don't even think that would really matter, because I've heard released clips of the VAR conversations with the referees before in other games, and it's absolute fucking pandemonium. Sorry to swear. It's absolute pandemonium. How you've got any form of communication or sense of common sense or calmness and actually analysing the situation is beyond me, because it's batshit mental what goes on in those conversations. But it doesn't make any sense. And I when I see people, pundits and that defending that action, I'm like, why are you? I feel like Mugatu in fucking Zooland. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. It's like I say, you do that in any other area of the pitch, and the referee blows his whistle. So why not in that instant? And it's not like it was hard to spot. It's not like it was contentious, or you wasn't sure. In slow-mo, in stills, in real time, everyone can see that was a foul. Everybody can see it was a foul. If you say that it wasn't a foul, then it's because you have an agenda and because you have a bias. That to me, I like I said, the other ones might be a little bit more contentious, but that's foul for me.
How about you, Femi? What were you putting it down to? And I take it you agree with everyone else. Top of the list of four possibilities was the shove, because there is no way on earth that is not a foul, no matter where it is on the pitch, let alone in the box.
Yeah, I'll come on to the gaslighters in a minute. The people that want to tell us that something that we're seeing is not really what we're seeing. Those
along
people.
with the misquotes from Arteta, where they were misquoting him deliberately from what he said about the Liverpool game.
Yeah, exactly. I hate this. This has been annoying me all weekend. I've calmed down a bit actually. I've just been finding things to be angry about. But after Arteta's thing today, I was like, yeah, you know what? Just who cares? They hate us anyway. I don't know. For me, obviously, Rich has explained the foul really well. There's no point in going into that. My main thing with this offside one and this line one is a few times that I've seen this sort of thing happen. I remember we were going for fourth one season, and one of the games that cost us actually was when we played Brighton at home. And Martinelli had scored. We played really bad in that game. We were so terrible. And Martinelli had scored a goal, and it was just before half time. And somehow it was in a melee of players. There were so many players involved. Somehow they concluded that he was in front of the keeper when the ball was played. Somehow. So when I'm hearing things like, oh, we didn't know the point of contact to where the player was, that's literally what they said about the offside. We're all looking at it thinking, okay, how did the ball go forward? They're saying we don't know the point of contact, but the ball did go forward because it went past Raya. So I'm like, what are we doing here? Where some games, we can stick to the rules, we can find these lines, we can know where the ball's gone off. And some games we're being told that, oh no, it's not conclusive. We don't know. It's either it works or it doesn't work. It's as simple as that. Now, my scary thing is if you leave decisions to these on-field referees, they're just so bad. Like we're all lying to ourselves and just we're not being honest. We're not going to say they're just so bad. And that's what the Arsenal statement basically said. It's like come on, we've got the best league in the world, supposedly the best fans, but let's be honest, like these guys are so bad. If you leave it to them, what you get is decisions like we got against West Ham in the week where Ramsdale's shirt is basically dragged off his neck. The goalkeeper's shirt is dragged off. The referee has nothing to do at a corner but look in that box because the lino is looking at the ball, isn't he? Where the player's taking the corner. So all the referee has to look for is a foul or fouls in the box. And he literally looks at that, looks at Ramsdale, and those are the types of decision that we will get if we leave it to refs. So VAR is there to then say, hold on, mate, you're not doing your job properly. Like, that's not right. But what they're doing is they're just saying, oh, you know what? That's my mate. I can't. Oh, I've got to back him up. You know, it doesn't. Yeah, we'll stick with the on-field decision. Last season, it was, there's a higher bar for. This season, it's, we'll stick with. It's like we don't know what the rules are. Like, what are we doing? Is it sticking with the on-field decision? Is it a higher bar of intervention? Is it? And now everyone is confused. The fans are confused. The refs, I'm sure, are confused. Everyone is confused. No one knows what's going on anymore. It's an absolute. It's a joke. The league is farcical right now, to be honest with you.
Well, it's such the weird juxtaposition in the sense of like, so our goal again last season against Leicester, where they fucking combed through to see Ben White holding the motherfucker's hand, but they can't see that from Gabriel. That's the thing that's so bizarre. You know, you can comb through and see the Wolves striker's studs hitting fucking David Luiz's knee, but you can't see this. You know, you can see Rashford's ball. You've got the angle to see Rashford's cross is out, but you don't have the angle to see that this is out. Like, that's the thing that's really, really annoying. And as you touched on just now, Femi, about that it's all their mates and it's all what's it called? That's not a conspiracy theory. That's been said out loud in an interview on a podcast by Mike Dean. He purposely didn't send his because he didn't want to embarrass his mate. He didn't want to do that to him. So we know that shit goes on. You know, we've had. So it annoys me because these same idiots, right, in the media and stuff like that, who are now say, coating off Arsenal and Arteta for making this statement and stuff like that. They're the same pundits week in, week out, who are interviewing Dermot Gallagher on bloody Sky Sports News about referee decisions. What did they get right and what did they get wrong? This is not something like new. This isn't something that's Stan just put in the thing. Brentford, them not drawing the lines. How many apologies does a club have to receive before they kind of say, well, this, enough is enough. This is terrible. This standard that you're setting is beyond the joke. And it's, you're supposed to be a professional outfit. One of, I think, is it us in Italy? It might even be more now. Professional referees in the world, one of the only countries with professional referees. And it's diabolical. And that is because it's been presided over for the last decade and a half by Mike Riley, one of who I still haven't forgiven for cheating us out of that 50th game. And I don't care what anyone says, he absolutely robbed us that game. Nobody can tell me otherwise.
They all laugh.
Yeah. But he's presided over a decade and a half of referees not getting any better. No diverse referees, even just in locale. Everyone's from the fucking northwest. I keep swearing. Sorry, Danny. Everyone's from the north. What's it called? So there's no, like I say, everyone's from that area. There's no, like I say, good refs coming through. Any good refs that might have been coming through the thing, sick and tired of his nonsense, and bowled off to other leagues and stuff like that. Like I can't remember, is it Clattenburg and things like that. You've only got to look at the previous head of the PGMOL, Keith Hackett. You should listen to how he describes the absolute farce that Mike Riley has presided over. And, I don't want to give Howard Webb too much crap in the sense of, because, much like when Arteta took over the Arsenal team and he had a load of deadwood and a load of things to change, like I said, Howard Webb's coming into this job of, like I said, a decade and a half of mismanagement and non-compliance, like that World Cup when no English refs went to the World Cup just because that was how bad they were, but that being said, Howard Webb, the guy who's trying to bring this into the limelight, this is the same guy who was famously Fergie's mate, Fergie's little henchman. It's the inconsistencies that really, really get on your nerves week in, week out. That you just don't understand from it. They don't seem to know what they're doing. They haven't seemingly taken advantage of or looked into other sports similar to football, like for instance rugby that uses their TMO to kind of look at the pros and cons and how it's working, how it can get better. Like I said, mate, seriously, I don't know if you are able to clip up and you can see it on the socials, the conversations between the VAR and the referee is carnage. It's an absolute disaster zone. And it's not anything new. It's something that's been going on for far too long. And I don't understand why. I don't know if it's just because it's Arsenal, it's just because it's Arteta, how all these pundits and stuff like that are kind of making out like he's said something egregious or something completely out of left field and disgraceful, because I don't think Arteta really has. He's just a manager who's been fed up and kind of ranting a little bit at the end of the game, but it's no different, maybe a little bit more heated than what every pundit on Match of the Day, Sky Sports News, Talk Sport, what all the pundits say week in, week out. There's a decision, not just in the Arsenal game, but in every single game, every single weekend. There's some sort of flashpoint where the referees are being crap. Yeah.
That's not getting talked about enough.
10 years ABW, how many times have we complained about refereeing decisions for Arsenal, whether we're winning, whether we're not winning? There's just been a constant stream of these weird decisions that happen in our games and towards us that we just think, oh, okay, What do we always say? Oh, if that was Xhaka, if that was
That's
Xhaka.
it. That was Xhaka.
Xhaka got sent off for a tackle on the halfway line that no one else in the league has ever got sent off for. We've seen so many
The 2
weird
yellow
things,
cards for Martinelli, one for 2 separate incidents, one after the other.
Exactly. And one of them was just a basic tackle that we see Rodri do 10 times in one game without a yellow card.
Well, this bloke, Bruno, didn't get booked until the 88th minute of the game. And that shit he was up to the entire game.
Well, this is what I was going to say. The Bruno one, I mean, there was one where he just ran into the back of Jorginho. That's just insane. He didn't even get anything for that. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard, you have to listen to old referees when they talk, by the way, because
one of them was on Harry Seamu's podcast today.
Yeah, it gives you an insight into how they really think, and that you think that these guys are just professional guys who just. But when they retire and you listen to them, you're like, these men are just. Number one, they're human beings, and they're just. So Clattenburg has come out and said, well, he didn't send Bruno off because he didn't send Havertz off, and he knew that would have descended into chaos, basically. And I'm like,
put your hands on the referee. They did it at least twice.
I'm like, is this really what we're doing now? We're saying, okay, if that one was in a red card, I'm not going to get. And it's like, what are we doing here? What is going on? And one thing I want to ask everyone, including the chat, is, do you actually remember when Howard Webb was a referee? One of the things that I remember about Howard Webb as a ref was, this guy is going to finish refereeing and he's going to be some sort of celebrity. That's literally what I always used to think. He was always the star of the show. You always knew when a Howard Webb game was on. You knew his presence was there.
It was another.
Yeah. Now, what is Howard Webb right now? He's a celebrity ref, basically, as the head of the PGMOL. He's got his own television show with Sky, with someone who's conveniently has a lot to say about Arteta, Michael Owen. And it's like all these things are just, it just doesn't sit right, you know. There's just too much of this stuff going on that you're just like, no. And I think, like Rich said, at some point, a manager was going to blow up. At some point, a manager was going to blow up. You know,
they fine
it is
them like
Arteta.
£40,000 if they say anything, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. You're not allowed to. They stick a camera in front of the manager's face after, you know, and they're like, oh, yeah, tell us what you think. And then most of them just come out with stupid rubbish. Oh, you know, it was this or was that. Or they just say nothing, basically. You're like, okay, I didn't really gain anything from that. Most of the time, Arteta just comes out and he says, me. He says, you know, first of all, I have to look at me. If we lose, I have to look at me. Then very rarely he blames the players, but he always says, first of all, I have to look at me. We have to work harder, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm tuning into this. I don't want to get into pundits and all of that, but I'm tuning into radio with Barry Glendenning and all of these people saying, oh, Arteta's a serial offender. Arteta's a clown. Arteta's always having a go at ref. And I'm like, how about you guys are journalists? These are paid, you're paid journalists. Bring some facts. Bring facts. Show me where Arteta has had a go at referees before. Show me. Like, let's actually not talk rubbish. Let's look. And the worst thing is, these people hate being called out on their rubbish. They say these things to push an agenda, to make the average fan who doesn't listen to or watch interviews with other managers, to make them think that this is the truth. Arteta never has a go at referees. The most he's ever said is, if I say what I think, I'll be suspended for 6 months. That's the most. And that was after a Cedric penalty, for God's sake, that we've never seen anything like it before. Ever seen anything like it before. We saw a penalty against Spurs that Mustafi, that crap player, gave away when one of their players was actually offside, but they still gave the penalty. It's like all these things have been happening for years and years and years and years and years. We've seen it, and Arsenal fans have been saying, hold on a minute, what's going on here? Why do Arsenal never say anything? Why does Arsene Wenger never say anything? What is it? Like, then you get idiots coming on radio telling you, gaslighting you, telling you Arteta is a serial offender. I'm like, well, you're lying, because Arteta runs up and down the sideline, not at the fourth official. He runs up and down the sideline, motivating his team. Now they brought in a rule to say you can't leave your technical area, and apparently the referees were joking, weren't they? Because that was the Arteta rule. Isn't that what they said? One of the refs said that. He said they were joking that, oh, this is the Arteta rule that you can't leave, because most of the time he's just motivating his team. What's wrong with that? Fair enough. A few times he might have a go at managers or whatever. So what? Arsene Wenger was the most passive guy on the sideline. Passive. How many fights did Arsene Wenger have with other managers? Multiple fights. You know, it's a passionate game. It's a passionate game, and they want to sanitize every single part of football. They don't want fans to have a voice. These media people that have been telling us all weekend, "Oh, shut up, Arsenal fans. Just take it. Just you cry babies." And the worst thing is they can't shut the fans up anymore. They can't tell the fans what to think anymore, and they hate it so much. They hate the fact that fans have a voice. Fans have podcasts that are more insightful than their stupid analysis of, oh, Newcastle wanted it more. Like, shut the hell up. Like, or people telling us Newcastle deserve to win. Like, we're not stupid. We have our own voice. We have our own shows. We can listen to our own podcasts. We don't need to tune. I swear to God, if I could never tune into Sky again after this weekend, I would, because it's just been farcical and just a joke. It's an absolute joke, like, and it just irritates me. Then you listen to people just saying, "Oh, Arteta's a clown." And I'm like, you stupid idiots, failed managers, people that are jealous. I bet you in their little circles, they're like, "Oh, how come he got to get the Arsenal jobs and I'm getting the Derby job and I'm getting this job? And is it because foreign body?" It's just a joke. And I always thought it was because of Arteta, but it's not. It's because they hate Arsene Wenger. It all started with Arsene Wenger. They destroyed Arsene Wenger. Let's be honest, the press did. I'm not saying the fans didn't have a part to play, but it started with the press. The press were hammering this man for years and years and years and years. And then when Arsenal fans had enough and, you know, results weren't going, and fair enough, Arsenal fans were very bad to Arsene Wenger, then the press started going, well, look at these Arsenal fans. They're so bad to the greatest manager in their history. Oh, my God, how can they... And I'm like, you flipping assholes were constantly disrespecting Arsene Wenger for everything that he did. And they just think that we're just idiots. And it's just unacceptable. And I think the fans have just had enough, to be honest with you. The fans have had enough. The media cannot pull the wool over our eyes on this one, to be honest with you. And I'm so glad. I don't care what anyone says about the statement or whatever. I'm glad that Arsenal and Arteta actually stood up for the club the way the fans have been for years and years on social media. Ran over. I've been. Yeah, I'm done.
Well, it all goes back to, you have your favourites, Liverpool, Man United. They're the darlings of the media, and it goes back to the late 80s when Arsenal beat Liverpool in the League Cup final. The first time Ian Rush scored a goal and Liverpool lost. And then Anfield 89, that's twice. We were the ones who broke Liverpool, because after that, they didn't do anything again for decades. And then it was the Man United with Ferguson, were the greatest teams. No, we were the ones beating them in FA Cup finals. We were the ones doing the double twice. We were the ones who went invincible. And they don't. And now it's Man City are the ones that are running away with everything. And it looks like we're catching them. We beat them in the Charity Shield. We beat them in the league game. And they don't like it. And they hate the fact that Arsenal are the ones that come out and beat all these other teams that are dominating. Liverpool, Man United, and now Man City. And Adrian Durham, for years, would have the Daily Arsenal laughing at Arsenal. Doesn't do it anymore. And now they've all gone, oh, we're going to pick on Arsenal. Oh, they're just moaning all the time. Well, how about you look at it? It's black and white. It's facts. You look at the replays. Everybody can go and download the game and look at it after, or record it on Sky. And you can go and have a look at it frame by frame. And when the people doing the commentating have figured out whether it was a handball, whether it was offside, whether the ball was out, and they figure that out within 10 seconds, and it takes them 5 or 6 minutes with the VAR to do it, probably because they're discussing how they can get away with not doing it. Like you were saying, Richard, with the Australian bloke and then the Liverpool game. How the hell he said, oh, it's too late to do anything about it now. They knew they'd made a mistake. It was bad communication. He thought it's right, carry on, disallow the goal. But no, it's right, carry on, give the guy, disallow the goal and move on. and start it again. But it is just typical British hierarchy where they don't like to be questioned, whether it be traffic wardens, whether it be judges, whether it be the police, whether it be school teachers. You shut up and you take the punishment off them, whether you did it or not. And that's how the upper classes, and that's how you don't see some geezer from London being a football referee, do you? Or being a judge, or being the head of the police. They just do whatever they want, and that you can't question them. If you do question them, well, contempt of court. Oh, you're going to get your parking ticket. Oh, you're going to get detention after school. Oh, you're going to get a £40,000 fine from the FA, because they don't want to be questioned, and that's the way British society works. And so, what we need to do is have a European pool of referees, and then they all do different countries. Remember that back in the day where everybody wanted Kalina to come over here and referee, wouldn't take any shit off of anybody, has no loyalty. Like you were saying, Rich, most of the referees are from the Northwest. None. There's no referees from London when that thing was done. And where's Sian Massey gone? Where's she disappeared to? The only woman in football. Gone.
That's what I mean. Because there's no progression. You have to be a dour, jobs worth from the northeast to northwest. Sorry, to get anywhere. It doesn't help. Because Arsenal have got such a massive. We're a massive club, and we have a massive online presence. That is just, mate. It's just clickbait. As I said at the start of my rant, nobody can look at that challenge from Joe Linton on Gabriel and say that's not a foul. The only people that will say that wasn't a foul are people who have an agenda, people who are trying to drive clicks and views and engagements, because they know that, there's goobers like myself or others that are going to go onto Talk Spite, are going to go onto these talk shows, or go onto Twitter, formerly known as X, or X, or known as Twitter, whatever nonsense is on these days, and stick up for it, complain, make mention, and it drives up their engagement, and that is all about it. There's no nuance, there's no neutrality. It is just clicks and engagement now, and that is exactly what is driven, because Arsenal mean big business. Arsenal mean big engagement. Arsenal mean big views, because of the following we have, because of the club and the history that we have. That's why Adrian Durham for years has been spouting bollocks on Talk Spite about us, because he knows they'll get an absolute volley full of people calling up, spending, I don't know, £2 a minute to try and correct him, or have their say back. It's baffling. The what's it called. I don't think that Howard Webb is the man to do it, just because of from what I've seen beforehand. But like I said, the refereeing standards in this country have absolutely fallen on its arse, and it's going to take a long while and a big change for things to get any better. And I would imagine you go to, as Femi said about, we don't need, when for Arsenal on Sky, or on TV, literally I'm tuning into that game 1 minute to kick off.
Yeah.
Half time comes off, I'm going off to get a drink, have a pee, do whatever I need to do. As soon as that game is finished, boop, off goes the TV. I'm not listening to Gary Neville and Jamie bloody Carragher, fake dicker.
The one who used to play for Stephen Warnock. What's he ever done in football? I bet he shut up. And that woman with him, thick as shit, most of them. They've all because they're the Scouse Mafia. All the Mank Mafia.
But like Femi said, in the sense of, I'm not going to them for their analysis, because they don't watch enough. They can't do. They physically can't watch enough football and enough games enough, because they've got to technically cover the whole of football to know more than me about Arsenal. And that sounds really arrogant, but you know what I'm kind of saying? I generally don't, match of the day or something like that. I might watch the Arsenal highlight. I'm generally not watching a lot of anything else because, as Femi said, we've got our podcast, we've got our journalists that are Arsenal centric that we know and that cover exclusively that content. We don't need these jokers. Like I said, we don't listen to them. I've kind of it drives me insane, kind of thing, that the absolute nonsense that they're coming out with, and it's all entrenched. As Femi said, Howard Webb has got his TV show with Michael Owen. He's doing shows with Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville that they're all going sweet. I don't know how true this is, but allegedly they've all been told by Howard Webb and the PGMOL that that they should be backing the PGMOL against Arteta. Allegedly, that's what Keith Hackett has come out. So I know I've name dropped him twice here, but we don't need these guys. We don't need these guys at all. They are, like I said, they're in it for the wrong thing.
It is. Fem looks like he's just resigned to giving up.
Yeah, it's also all rubbish, isn't it? How long before we just get rid of referees altogether and just have a robot standing in the middle of the pitch? I don't see the difference, to be honest.
Well,
just have a robot,
RoboCop or Terminator,
exactly. And then if the referee, if the players start fighting, the robot has something that just tasers them or something. That's all the referee is really there for. You should just referee the whole game with you should be able to anyway with a video with VAR, but then you get the same idiots on the pitch that are doing the VAR anyway. So it's all a cycle of absolute rubbish, isn't it? But yeah, it's all crap. It's all rubbish. But
my last thing I just want to say about refereeing standards, and it's not just me defending Arteta and me defending my club and me defending Arsenal. I'm fairly certain if you went to every single team's fan cast or podcast or fans, each team could give you a litany of fuck ups that had happened to their club and egregious refereeing decisions that has happened to them. So it's not just about us and it's not just about Arsenal. It's happened to every single club. So it's not just us saying that it's only us. Every single club could come out with a whole host of egregious decisions, and that's what's the problem is the standard of refereeing. He's so bad and has been for the last decade and a half because of Mike Riley.
You know what? It's funny you said that because I've watched the last few Wolves games. They've been absolutely done over by referees.
Cause them relegation, and one day someone is going to take legal action against that. When they're getting PGMOL boxes of milk tray every weekend, every Monday morning, and a bunch of flowers, you know that something's going on. And these managers, because it's a small club like that, the Sheffield United manager, when he was saying about the referees, he said they're killing the game. I was on the Sheffield United podcast. I said that was what that Sheffield United manager said was absolutely magnificent. What Klopp said was magnificent. What the Wolves manager has come out and said is magnificent. I'm not just saying it's Arsenal stuff. Like you were saying, Femi, all the clubs can come out with a litany of things that have been done. And the furious thing is, it's not like in the old day we had 2 cameras. There's like 50 cameras at the game. We all can go back and look at when you fuck it up. And then if you feel like it, they give us an apology. And if they don't feel like it, like with Arteta, they just go, shut up, you're wrong. And if you say anything, that'll be 40 grand, please. And then saying anything again, are you? Right, that'll be 40 grand and a 3-match ban. And maybe we take points off you. It'll just go on and on and on. It's like when you're a naughty child. I once grounded Sean for 3 months. It started like 1 day, 2 days, a week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, a month. Once I got to 3 months, she did as she was told. And she was grounded with no phone and no friends for 3 whole months. That's what it was like because I was a bully and she was a very bad boy. Girl, boy, one or the other. Much like Arteta's a bad man.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. You can't win. You can't fight them.
Bad. He's the worst. He's so bad, isn't he? I'm so looking forward to when this and I want to swear, but oh god, this arsehole, Ange arsehole, whatever his name is, flipping arsehole. I can't wait till they get 10 VAR decisions against them. This stupid prick. Then also about, oh, that's how a manager should act and all this crap, losing 4-1 with your defenders defending on the halfway line. This is how you should play and all this crap. Oh, I can't wait till this guy gets sacked. I'm just going to laugh so much. It's so funny right now. This is great, isn't it? This stupid idiots.
A little something to cheer us up. Newcastle, AC Milan. PSG, AC Milan was 1-1. Giroud has come in, scored 2-1. Newcastle are now bottom of their Champions League group.
Newcastle are quickly becoming one of my least liked. I used to always really like Newcastle, but they obviously the blood money and the sports washing thing is one thing to contend with, but they're so overly physical and nasty, but yet when it's get put back on them, mate, they're surrounding the referee, they're whining, they're making they've become very unlikable.
Rich, guess who he went and modelled his game on when he took time off after being sacked at Bournemouth?
Yeah.
Guess who you went and watched? Have you heard this one before?
No.
Look at the way they play. Take a guess. Who would you think?
Simeone?
Yes, thank you very much. He went and spent time with Simeone at Atletico Madrid to study his game. Yep. When he took
is that real?
Yeah,
mate. I'm not surprised.
Stan makes a good point here. He says the media calling Spurs, quote, brave for how they played with 9 men. If it was us, they would be calling us arrogant, and they would also be calling for extra punishments and saying that we were a disgrace. That Spurs should have had 3 players sent off, at least 3, and they should have had more bookings. If that had been Arsenal, we'd have had the book thrown at us. It would have been carnage all over the news. 2 players sent off, kicking and fouling and cheating and diving. It's like when that Romero, when he kicked the bloke, Romero rolled around on the floor for about 5 minutes holding his thigh, pretending he was injured. It's like 2 small children. One of them goes and slaps the other one, and then he starts crying, so you don't know who's the one who's done anything wrong. That South American
he's a nasty player, Romero. He was against us. Player.
Absolute prick.
Like, he's the real fucking Xhaka, like, in the sense of, like, his cards and red cards and the amount of yellow cards he's got and the amount of games he's played is absurd. He's a nasty, horrible player.
It is.
Isn't it? Oh, mate, you know what? Isn't it just hilarious what happened to them last night? They lost 2 players in one move. That was funny. They got two players sent off. That injury to the 2 players in the one move. What? Didn't they get something else? Was there another injury or something? And then they got that arsehole that he injured his pubic bone or something like that.
Carlson.
That's come out today. Richarlison injured his pubic bone. It's like, that's great, isn't it? So all the injuries that we've been having, they had everything happen to them in one game, which is absolutely brilliant.
But they'll be all right because they've only got Newcastle and Man City to come up in the next 4 games. So then we'll see. Loki with an update. 25,857 days since Spurs last won the league in black and white. Anyway, it's been 1 hour and 37 minutes. Let's go and do some questions. First one from Phil Macker for you, Rich. How long before Reiss gets fed up carrying the team? We need to replace Partey as soon as possible.
About half an hour or so. No, I think he'll be all right. I think he seems like a good egg. Is old Declan. I think he's more than happy carrying with his big broad shoulders that team. I do agree. We need to replace Partey like sharpish because it's obvious that his body cannot cope with the Premiership. Especially the amount of minutes and the physicality. The wonderful player and that, but I think he's a fantastic player and he's so integral and important to the way we play. But he's never available when we really truly need him. So that is, for me, that is a massive thing to do in our next window, especially in the summer, is sort out and replace Partey. But I don't think Declan will. Yeah.
No, Rich. The problem you've got in midfield is you're carrying Partey while you're carrying Jorginho and Elneny, basically. Like, Elneny's just a body that makes people laugh at the moment. That's literally all he is in the squad. He's not going to contribute very much in the squad. And Partey's contributing 0 to the squad. So you basically got 2 players in your central. How many central midfielders we got? Let's say 4 altogether, right? And you're basically carrying 2, and the third one is Jorginho. So all you've got is Reiss, really. So that pretty much answers that. We've got a major rebuild in central midfield that has to be done between January and the summer.
Oh, sounds like I was about to bring something up. Oh, why did it just put bonk? Does one of you go out and come back in again?
No, not I'm aware of. Was it me? Okay.
Yeah, he dropped them.
Okay. Next question for you, Femi. Havertz or Weghorst? I've had to look Weghorst up. Burnley bought him for 12 million in 21-22, and I think they got relegated. And then 22-23 on loan to Besiktas, 8 in 16. Man United, 0 in 17, lovely. And now he's on loan at Hoffenheim in the Bundesliga, 2 in 8. So I think they mean, Noza means big lanky striker up front. Which one would you go for?
Havertz, definitely. I mean, I'm not even going to joke around with this. That guy was absolutely terrible for Man United. Just an absolute shambles. Like, what? I mean, just even thinking about the fact that Man United signed that guy it's incredible. It's like, what are they smoking over at that club? But yeah, no, I'm not even going to dignify that with a. I mean, Havertz plays for Germany, for God's sake, and he must have something, even though they're pretty crap right now. There must be something good about him. So let's find out what it is at some point. As someone said in the chat, we paid 50 million for him, and we've got him on a 300k contract, so we better make it work. Basically.
I think that was Stan who put that right before he's dug in there like a Alabama tick.
Yeah, we can't cancel this contract. This isn't an Aubameyang Ozil situation that we could just bomb him off. We just have to make it work.
Our very own Karl, Rich says, if we sign a striker, he didn't put it with a Q. I shouldn't really ask it, but you'll get the ump. If we sign a striker in January or the summer, does Jesus or Eddie need to leave?
In the summer, yes. They won't be sold in January.
Yeah. I agree with what Fem said.
Some team down the bottom of the league will see that Eddie scores goals. He's up for sale. They need someone who's going to come in. A Tony Cascarino, a John Hartson kind of figure. Bring them in, get a few goals, save them from relegation. And we go 40 million. Thank you very much.
40 million? Holy smokes.
Well, they're desperate enough.
Yeah, I'll take that for Eddie, I guess. I think if we were to bring in another first choice striker, that would see Jesus or even Eddie's minutes drastically reduce, and especially at the point in their careers, I can't see anybody especially not Jesus, hanging around to be a rotation striker or not getting minutes, so that one or both, one of them would have to leave, I'd imagine. But I think it's more likely that would happen in the summer rather than in January, just because it's so hard to. Wasn't Weghorst bought in January? That's the kind of caliber of strikers you're kind of knocking about with in January.
Right. Okay. Next question, Femi. What's up with the keepers? It's a mess from Loki. Is it a mess? If it is, what's going on?
Oh, mate. It's absolute shambles, isn't it? It's basically we've just watching Ramsdale last week. I know none of the goals were particularly 100% his fault, but he still looked like the same keeper, did he?
No.
So he's broken for now, unless you get him back in his first team, and you can't drop Raya, because if you drop Raya, then he's basically broken as well, because you're dropping a keeper. It's like, so we're pretty screwed right now, where we just have to make it work with David Raya. I know everyone keeps saying, "Oh, just bring Ramsdale in, bring Ramsdale in, but the consequences of that means you've basically lost Raya for the season, and you have to cancel that loan. Thank God we only signed him on loan, but so your only option are to keep going with Raya until the FA Cup comes around and somehow try and just do a quick little hustle and switch them back around. But for now, we're stuck with what we have.
Femi, can I ask you about the goalkeepers? And I think one of the things is the biggest difference between the two. I know, like, you know, especially last season's Raya's stats and that were very, very good with his feet. You know, that long ball distribution to Mbuemo and Tony and stuff like that. For me, what I've seen, but I think you might be able, because you go to the games at the Emirates, you might be able to say if I'm right or wrong in it. The biggest difference that I think between the two is their defensive starting positions on the pitch. One of the things that we kept on getting done with, especially the back end of last season, is those long balls, when our defence pushed up, those long balls over the top of our defence, which haven't been a massive issue this season, I think, especially since David Raya has come in, because his starting defensive position is so high. Am I wrong in that instance?
Yeah. Basically, Raya plays like a third centre back. That's basically what you'll see at most games. He's so high in the box that he's basically your. And then you notice that Ramsdale can't really play like that, especially when he played last week. He doesn't play the same way. He literally is so high up the pitch. He contributes so much in the game. But the one thing that I will say about Raya and distribution is he had someone to hit when he was at Brentford, which is Ivan Toney. The amount of times even we played Brentford and Raya would hit Ivan Toney, and Ivan Toney would bully our two centre backs, no matter who it was, Saliba, Gabriel. Anytime Ivan Toney was playing against us, no matter how bad that team was, he would bully our centre backs, and Raya had someone to pick. For us, he can't play like that. So that automatically changes the way that he's got to play. So I'm not so sure what his short distribution was like at Brentford, because I don't really think they play a lot like that. They play kind of like that, but it's like a mid-long ball type game, and they had a target man to hit. But for us, he just has to be. He's more like a what's his name? The Man City keeper, Edison. Is it? Yeah, he's more like an Edison than a Ramsdale for us. And then the problem with that is then when you bring Ramsdale in and you're asking him to do the same thing, you're clearly not comfortable doing that. So now we're basically back to the same position we were last season, where we've got two different styles of keeper, which one was Matt Turner and one was Ramsdale. And obviously everyone said, oh yeah, Matt Turner's just not good enough. And it's going to get like that with Ramsdale on the few occasions that we're going to see him, where people... And Danny, remember when we did that show earlier after the first game Ramsdale was dropped, and I said to you, what did I say to you?
Oh, don't start me on that again. I've had sleepless nights because of that.
I said to you, the first game, I said to Danny, Ramsdale's gone. He's going to get sold. And he's just like, no, he's not. No, he's not. And look at the outcome. You're seeing it already.
Yeah, that for me is the biggest difference between the two, because I don't think Ramsdale is that much worse than Ryan. Maybe he's not as confident and calm, maybe a little bit as thingy. The biggest difference between the two, for me, I think, is that starting position. And I don't think, like I said, I think it's such it allows us to press so much higher, and I think that's the thing that Arteta is not going to want to go back. I think the passing out from the back, excuse me, and his distribution is a bit of a misdirect. I think the biggest thing for the biggest plus point that Raya gives us is that high starting line.
Changes the way we play, really. That those little things do change the way that a team plays. The keeper changes the way you play.
Yes, while we've been doing the show, apparently the PGMOL have released 2.5 minutes worth of audio from the referees during the Newcastle game. Now, should we have a listen to it during the show?
Oh God, no! I hate this arsenal.
Right, I'm going to have to mute myself because this is going to come out of my speakers. So I'll be able to hear everybody, but I'll also be able to hear this. So you two can talk as we do it. So I'm muting myself. Oh, God, it won't let me mute myself.
This could either be absolutely fantastic or go really, really badly. What do you reckon, Fem?
I hate these arseholes.
Yeah.
So there are a number of things to check. Was the ball in play? Was there a foul? Is he offside and a possible handball?
Great.
A possible offside from Gordon.
No, let's check if the ball is in play first.
Checking the offside. Delay.
No, check the ball.
Okay, delay. Checking if the ball is in play.
There we go. This is the best angle we have.
That's the best angle you've got.
Yeah.
Seriously,
From all the 89 cameras, this is the best angle I have for you.
the ball looks out, but we can't possibly.
I need a decision. I need a decision.
Sure, there's no other angle.
Yes.
Well, I guess it's still on field.
Guess? I need a definitive answer.
It's in field. Check complete.
Wait.
The goal.
Wait. We need to run the other checks.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, lads.
Are you running the check?
Which one?
Check the foul on Gabriel, please.
Just getting a tight angle.
That's fine. Perfect. Yeah.
Let me just switch angles. I think this angle might be better. Happy with this?
Yeah. Looks like he's moving forward already. There's 2 hands on his back. Can't be sure if that's a push.
What's going on?
Check complete. That's fine. Perfect.
Has your side been checked?
Delay. Checking the offside. Give touch point. Let's go. Touch point, please, and then the 2D line.
I can't do that.
What?
This is the best angle I have.
We'll need an angle where we can see the ball making contact.
I can't find one.
Do we have any cameras?
Any luck?
Delay. Still checking. What do we do?
Do you have anything else?
This is all I can give.
This is going well.
We need to get us moving, boys.
This is it.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no conclusive evidence whether Gordon is behind the ball, so stick with the on-field decision. Okay, check complete, goal stands. Thank you, mate.
Well done, boys.
Wait. You haven't won the handball check. Want me to run the footage?
It's too late now.
Oh my God!
No!
This is a shambles.
Before we start the game.
Oh my goodness me!
Well done, boys.
What?
Great process.
No, this isn't real.
Jesus.
This isn't real.
No,
Danny.
that can't be real, Danny. That can't be real.
Danny, that's not real.
That cannot be real. That cannot be real.
It's fake.
Where did you get that from? Is that fake?
It's fake.
It has to be, surely.
It sounded like it was real, but there's that last bit. I said, no. When they said good process, lads, that's when I knew, okay, this isn't real. Anything before that could have been real.
But it sounded thingy. It sounded like that utter carnage that normally goes on.
But
Holy shit.
it gave us a nice laugh at the end of the pod, didn't it? Because
It really did.
you see, when I started playing it, Bobby, who did the tweet, at Bob Lex, he put a nice bit of satire. That's why I quickly went full screen to see if see what you two would say. But it's a nice way to end the show on a lighter note, isn't it?
Fair play to Femi. He weren't fooled. I was absolutely all in on that one. I was like, holy. It sounded pretty much like the absolute carnage that normally goes on. Well done, lads. Well done. Good process.
Right.
Good process.
On that happy note, we've been going for an hour and 53 minutes. We do have some more questions left, but we need to end the podcast with a smile, the same way we started the podcast. I don't know if Chris is still going to join us. He might join us might give us a cheeky pirate wave for the last 30 seconds of the show, but I doubt it. Anyway, we have a game tomorrow night against at home to Sevilla. We win that, and then we are almost definitely going to be through to the whatever round they've invented next. And then we've got a 2-week break, and then we're back with a game against Brentford. So hopefully we'll have Saka will be fit after playing back-to-back 90 minutes in pointless games for England. Jesus, any chance he might be fit? Probably not. Partey? Probably not. Who knows? Never know.
I thought you said you wanted to end the podcast positive.
Oh shit, you're right. Yeah, that's it. Our formerly knows sums it up perfectly. Hashtag Carpenter out. Femi, thank you very much. It's been a joy to have you on again.
Good process, lad. Good process.
And Richard, it's nice to have you back on, enjoying looking at your books, of your Dan Brown books. Very underrated author.
Underrated. Thank you very much, Danny, and thanks for having me on, mate.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Last podcast, 70.1% of you were subscribers, which is higher than what most podcasts go through. But if you are one of those 29.9% or whatever it was, feel free to subscribe. Put this in a circular to everybody who works for your company, especially if it's a large company with millions of employees, and get everyone to subscribe. We will be back probably... I don't know if Chris can be able to do one next week. We've got no idea when we're back. So when we do come back, it will be a surprise. We shall leave you with an outro of Steve and Dave. Thank you very much and goodbye.
As soon as I scored that goal, I was fucking livid. Get down, dog. Splendid business.
He nearly caught the bloody thing. What are you talking about?
So I was just eating a full quiche. Well, you don't often see them at it. So when you see them in the supermarket, they need to be swagged, microwaved immediately and get the brown sauce on one. Bosh, Bob's your uncle. Never in doubt.